This spot is essentially Ice Cave but smaller and is arguably one of the best spots on the map. The nice part about it is that the 6 times is only really right above the cave and doesn't extend outward very far at all. There's space to put a very solid tower in the entrance entirely in 1 times. You have this front room and a very solid choke point that allows you to have a straight on wall, where unlike some caves like Island Ice, essentially the entire wall shoots at and down the choke. You have a lot of space in the back, allowing you to set up more breeding than you could possibly need. And there's a second tunnel leading into a smaller back room of the cave, with space for even more breeding, or a war room. This second cave is a close contender. It can be found at 57.8, 65.8. It too has the additional benefit that the 6 times ends directly at the cave entrance, and this cave has plenty of space to fit 2 or 3 towers in front comfortably. You go down a short passageway that opens into a larger front room. If you find this video helpful, please leave it a like. In the back of this room, you also have a choke point. It's not quite a crouch either, but it's also very solid as it has a large amount of space behind it and is also essentially straight on, meaning you can build a large wall with a full turret cap, essentially aiming directly at the choke point. This cave isn't quite as large as the first, with a bit less space for breeding, but quite frankly, there's still more than enough for the vast majority of tribes regardless. This cave is at 71.6, 0. You drop down into the water and you have a large tunnel where at the end you need to go straight up. This is great as it essentially allows you to build a partial moon pool type deal around the water entrance. This cave continues going straight up with a series of small steps with a small opening at the end. This vertical tunnel that you need to go up essentially makes it one of the strongest caves in the game, as pushing upwards online is very, very difficult, and this is essentially similar to pushing up Snow North dropdown, and it's practically impossible. The back of this cave is very large with more than enough space that you could need for the absolute largest of tribes. Fully layered, the back of this cave would be a ridiculous amount of space. This cave is at 31.7, 65.6, and it's a reasonably average cave. One of the downsides of it is that the outside of this cave is 6 times, and putting a tower outside isn't really viable. Regardless, you have a small room with a passageway on the right hand side. The tunnel is fairly big and is what makes this cave not as great as the others, but still pretty solid. It opens up into a large room, and the fact that, again, the entire wall does shoot down the tunnel could make it fairly viable as it'd be very easy to defend. The back of this cave really isn't as large as some people would like to see, but it's alright, it's not terrible, and it does have the added benefit of having a little bit of space for water breeding. Overall, it's an okay cave for a mid-sized tribe that's pretty defendable, but it's also not amazing.